Alright guys, this is just another short installment for my trail tips and hacks video. Just wanted to go over a couple of things that I usually carry with me, or I do when I'm out on the trail. I'm by no means an expert. This is just stuff that I found that helped me out when I'm out there, and just figured I'd pass it along in case if it's something that no one's heard about, or if it can help anybody that's out there while they're exploring. So let's get into it. First trail tip, guys, airing down your tires when you're off-road. Not only will it make the ride smoother when you're off-road, but also it can help with the suspension, and it can also help not shake the vehicle so much, so you won't get as much wear and tear on your vehicle. The downside is, don't do this if you don't have any way to air up your tires, because obviously most people can't go from off-road right to their house, and it's not safe, obviously, to drive on paved roads with air out of your tires. Most tire pressure gauges have a knob on the back that allows you to press the valve stem to let your air out. It's just on the back side of the tire pressure gauge. Right now I'm at about 30 pounds, but I'm not doing any major off-roading. It's more of just this rocky road up on this ridge. The other thing you can do is have a valve core removal tool. The only thing I want to stress about this is if you lose that valve core on the inside, unless you have spares, it's just going to leak all the air out. It's much faster to release air out of the tire removing the valve core, but if you lose that valve core and you don't have any spares, it's all over. Take it out, it's just going to release the air out of the tire. The tire repair kit that I carry with me actually has not only spare cores, but also a smaller version of the valve removal tool. And this one also has some extra valve caps. One thing about this first tip is removing the valve core is kind of a hot button issue when it comes to people in the off-roading community. If you don't pay attention, or if you don't know what you're doing, or if you misplace it, because it's just as light as the valve cap, you can easily lose it. If you're not paying attention, you can either let too much air out, but if you have a way to put air in, then that solves that issue. But if you don't have any spares, then you're really in a bad situation, because if you don't have a spare, it's just going to completely deflate and then could even pop off the rim. So even if you found someone, or if someone had a way to air inflate it, it might break the bead on the rim. So it's a hot button issue. There's also the real easy to use tire deflators. You screw it on. Some of them even have a dial, some of them have a knob, some of them have different ways that you can set how much air you want out, and then it shuts it off. I've always done removing the valve core. That's just the way my dad did it growing up, and then that's the way I've always done it. But it's crazy the difference when you let air out of your tires and you're off-road, how much smoother it is, even if you're in a mostly stock rig like mine. Obviously, if you're in a built rig, you'll have the suspension that handles off-road better, but between lowering the air pressure and then having a purpose-built rig, there's obviously a big difference. But the biggest difference is if you're at street pressure and you go off-road, you'll be bouncing all over the place. You'll feel every bump, every rock, every dip. If you let some air out of your tires, it can make the road a lot smoother while you're off-roading. Another trail tip or hack that can actually help you at any time, it doesn't have to be vehicle specific, but another thing that I always have with me in my vehicle is some form of good flashlight. I know most smartphones have a light on them, but if you're having to check a tire on the side of the road, or something happens in the engine bay, or you just in general, you're not going to want to be trying to hold your phone or set it down, and it's just too difficult. So I have one of these lights that just has different settings. You can zoom it, not that that necessarily matters. This is just happened to be a spare one that I had at home. And the only downside is, obviously, you have to keep batteries on hand in the vehicle at your house. This is actually along the same lines, I feel like, as being able to remove air out of your tire when you're off-road is having some form of light source in your vehicle can really help in a bad situation. On my previous vehicles, I have had stuff happen where like a belt slips off, or it's an easy fix on the side of the road, but obviously all the lights come on the dash, you know, because it's not running correctly. You got to pull over. And some modern vehicles have lights under the hood, so when you raise it, you can see what's going on. Yeah, having a light source of some form, you could even have like a headlamp. That would obviously probably be even better. I just happen to have a spare flashlight that I've always kept in my vehicle. But yeah, even a headlamp, you could throw that in a center console, in a side pocket of the door, glove box. I mean, they're super small. You throw that on, you'd be able to air your tires up on the side of the road before you go back into town after the sunset. So having light in the vehicle, being able to, not only for you, but if you have to have it for someone else or whatever, is really handy. And so that would be my second trail tip on this one. If you found any of the trail tips helpful, please let me know if there's anything specific you want to see. If you want to see an overview of some of the stuff that I carry in my rig. I do like having stuff in my vehicle or with me on my person or in my bag, something along those lines, to where if I get into a situation, I can do my best to be able to get myself out or help someone else get out. You've seen some of my other videos where like the axe, the shovel, the air compressor, those type of things. But if you'd like more specific rundown of what's actually in my vehicle, I guess you could call it my vehicle EDC, whatever you want to call it, just let me know down in the comments. Or if there's anything specific you're curious about, or if you have something that you think would work out better. Let me know down in the comments. Till next time, guys, we'll see you on the next trail tip and hack. Take care.